So today I'm going to talk about how to use Majolica glaze, which is a white tin glaze, on my terracotta piece here, the low temperature piece. The upper section I waxed, and it has a micaceous clay slip, so it looks like it has glitter. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do my painting on the glaze before we fire it. Once it's glaze fired, this clay will still be open to accepting smoke. So once this section is all shiny and done, I'm actually going to put this in Sager and smoke fire the top part, so this part will be black and sparkly. So it's going to be multiple steps, multiple firings. So next to me, what I'm doing today is the real basic way one of the really super basic ways Majolica was started with. And that's just having cobalt, which is a blue colorant, painted right directly onto the surface of the dry glaze. So I have two different washes here. One's a little bit thinner and the other one's a little bit thicker. So the different tonal values of blue will show up by thick and thin. So with Majolica, it just takes practice. So I'm going to take my brush and load it. And then for this mask, because it's a skull mask, I'm going to paint sections of what will be the under shape of the eye, which will be this light blue. And it might pool it a little bit, and I'm going to go with the pooling effect because that'll be a little bit darker as a contrast. And I'm going to go ahead and color his teeth. So a light blue right now. And might paint, I have different lines on this mask for sections, so I'm going to go ahead and paint, give him a little bit of a light, sort of like the 5 p.m. shadow beard going. So he'll look a little bit lighter blue there. I usually put my brushes on newspaper or paper, and then I wash them later. So, and you'll see I'm wearing gloves. With cobalt stains, you don't want to get the metal into your blood system in any way. I have a cut on this finger, so I'm wearing gloves to protect my hands. Though a lot of times when I work with cobalt like this, I wear gloves anyways. This is one of my handmade brushes, and in this bowl, I have a thicker wash. So this will be a darker blue. So I'm going to paint and highlight the eyes with this. So now he can start seeing us through his blue eyes. And be a little bit looser on this one. Mostly because I'm going to go ahead and make it look a little bit more like a flower. Now, the other thing with the cobalt is wherever you put this on, after you're all done, I'll be picking up the mask from here, the backside. That way I don't smear the cobalt. The cobalt can easily be smeared and you can leave fingerprints or marks. That's another reason to wear gloves, is so you can wash your gloves and you won't leave marks or fingerprints. Though you might want to leave a fingerprint to mark your work, to identify that it's yours. So you can see how the darker cobalt goes over the lighter, and then you'll see that contrast when this is all fired. I'm going to take another one of these brushes. It's a little bit in between a commercial and a handmade, but it's still loose. And we're going to highlight these teeth a little bit more. And with Majolica layering, you can do this with other colors too. I'm doing cobalt today, but in class we'll talk about how to approach the other colorants. And we also have those colored stains that we're using for the slips. So those actually will work this way too. So you could use the tangerine, you could use the green, the blues, other blues, and you'll get different stuff with each one. You know, so it's all about experimentation and seeing what you can get with the different colors and the brush. And just like a lot of the other processes, you can spend more time at this or less time, and it will grow on itself. You can also let the first layer dry and then go with then put more layers on later. So here's the beginning of this one for the brushwork. Sort of looking a little bit wild right now. So I might add another color later. to continue this. And then once it's fired, this will all be glossy. And then from there, we put in the smoke fire. The gloss area will not be affected by the smoke, just the area without any glaze. And so the back of this mask, part of it will turn black too. You can also later on, if we get to that point, we'll talk about China paints. You can paint other layers of colors on here and fire this multiple times to get the surface to be very painterly in a very direct 2D format. So that's how the basics on how to prepare something for Majolica. So here we have the mask that I demoed in the Majolica video that was painted with the cobalt washes on top of the Majolica. So now it's been fired to Cone 04, so about 1900 degrees. So you can see the different layers of cobalt by thick and thin. You get a different range of blues. Now what I'm going to do with this is the top is with the micaceous clay, so it has the flecks, like little gold flecks in it. I'm actually going to take this and smoke fire it, similar to our pit. The glaze won't take the smoke. This part will turn black, and then it'll be the final step for this. So here we've put the mask through the Majolica firing, which went up to 1940 to make the white glaze and the blue colors become part of the piece. The top, remember, has a micaceous slip, so the mica makes it look like glitter. Then what I did was I did a post-fire reduction, and I'm going to flip it over, and I heated this up to about 1200 degrees. Then put it into materials to burn, and then wherever the clay was still porous, it took in the carbon, so that just creates a contrast rather than keeping the bright orange that this was before. It also shows you any of the texture or micro cracks in the glaze are now appeared, and now that this is scrubbed clean, this is actually done. So this just shows you an example of post-fire reduction and completing a piece this way.